How's it going, everybody? This is BeatTheBush. If you add up all the years that I've been living in the Bay Area of California, it totals to be about 27 years. Today, I'm going to describe why life in the Bay Area has deteriorated dramatically. This video is brought to you by FlexiSpot. They provided me with this really awesome pro standing desk, which I will be using as my main desk going forward. It has an E5 3-stage stand which can lift up to 220 pounds, the advanced keypad which has 3 positions of memory, and also this curved bamboo 60-inch tabletop. Set the height of your desk so that when you put your hands on it, the elbows are essentially 90 degrees. I'm gonna set this to 28 inches, which is the height of most desks. You can see how this is a little high, and my elbows are actually bent a little bit more than 90 degrees, and I'm gonna have some weight of the edge of the table cutting into my hands over here. I have it set at number 2 for standing. Now it's gonna keep on going up like this. I'm gonna push the chair back. It's arrived at the standing mode with just one button press. You can see my arms here. It's about 90 degrees. I'm staring straight at my monitor. If you guys are interested in this pro standing desk from FlexiSpot, check out my referral link down in the video description below. I really don't want this video to be about a complainer video where I just say everything is terrible. There are some good things about the Bay Area. These are my opinion only, and I do also realize that sometimes after you live somewhere for a really long time, things start to get boring and maybe it's time for a change. I've made a video kind of like this before where people thought that I was about to move out of California. You have to know that I do own this home, and this makes moving out a lot harder because I actually have to maybe sell the place or kind of move out and rent it out. So there's a lot more friction for me to make this kind of move compared to someone that just rents. They can just stop the contract and then rent somewhere else. First things first, traffic is horrendous. I know LA traffic is a bit worse, but over here, traffic starts around 7:30 and lasts all the way to 10:30 if you are on a commute. And in the afternoon, traffic lasts from 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And now it's gotten a little bit worse, even during the pandemic, and it will last until probably 8 p.m. or so. Being self-employed, I try not to go out after 3 p.m. or so. So I try to do all my errands or whatever from 10 a.m. all the way till 2:30 p.m. If I ever go beyond this, I'm gonna find myself stuck in traffic and waste a lot of time. If you think about life in general, there's a lot of great restaurant options all over the Bay Area, more so in San Francisco. But as a East Bay resident, of me going to San Francisco, first of all, it's quite a ways away, and the bridge toll is quite expensive. It's around, I don't even know how much it is. I don't keep track. It's like $6 or $7 right now just to cross the Dumbarton. But all of these things is not the deal breaker for going to a nice fancy restaurant in San Francisco. I'm on a Tesla Facebook group, and people post about their little quarter window breaking in all the time, even if you do not have anything in the car at all. Lots of people saying even if they give the security footage to the police, nothing is going to be done about it. So it's a very, very rampant problem for your car to be broken into. And if something like that just happened just once, right, it's going to cost you a couple $100s just to replace the window and whatever that you happen to leave in the car. In California right now, these days, if you steal less than $950 of value or less, it's not considered a felony. It's only considered a misdemeanor. This means that most of the time, people who does something like this is gonna get off really, really easy. So that's why so many people are shoplifting blatantly outright in the open, and also they break into cars, and even if they caught, so what? They're not gonna go to jail or anything. Not only in San Francisco is pretty bad, in Valley Fair, it's also really bad as long as you park in the parking structures, the covered ones where it's all dark and stuff, right? So I try to park somewhere where there is a lot of traffic, a lot of foot traffic, just so that I won't have to encounter any kind of break-ins. I would wait 10-15 minutes just for something like this, because going to Valley Fair is such a dangerous proposition, if you will. I used to take BART more often to San Francisco, and it was semi-sketchy at the time, but now it's even more sketchy. They have more and more news reports of muggings, mass number of people where they just rob everyone on the entire train. So with this in mind, I personally feel that it's unsafe to ride BART. So these days, I personally opt to not ride BART and just drive to the city instead. I would pay the parking fee, whatever amount it is, it's a little bit pricier, but it's much better than fearing for my safety riding BART. For people that still have to ride BART, I would ride it during the commute hours, sometime where they have moderate to heavy traffic so that there's a lot of people around. If anything happens to you, at least there's a crowd around you that could potentially help you out. I would try not to ride in the first 2 or 3 cars of the BART train itself, because those tend to have less people. Ride in areas where there are people, and of course if you ride really late at night or really early in the morning, there is going to be a little bit more danger because no one else is going to be around to call for help if something happens to you. These days, of course, if I am not going to an airport, I might opt to bring some pepper spray, bring some kind of protection with me just in case something happens. The public transportation system in the Bay Area, it's horrible. If you try to take the bus anywhere at all, it's essentially going to take you about 3 times as long as if you just drove yourself or took an Uber. For example, from here to SFO, if you take a car, it's probably half an hour to 40 minutes or so. But if you take BART, you have to go all the way around. You have to wait for one train or another. And by the time you add it all up, the time it takes you to ride the bus to the BART station and then the BART station all the way to San Francisco, it's going to take you about 2 hours. So this is a 4x amount of time that it takes you doing the same thing. I know in other cities that is a little bit more well planned. It's not going to be 4x, right? Maybe it might be at worst 2x. Restaurant prices, especially during this pandemic, has skyrocketed a lot. It's increased probably about 25%. And as a resident here, I eat out sometimes. A ramen used to cost $12 to $15, right, for lunch. But now it's going to cost you, after tip and tax, about $18 to $20. Now, who's heard of this, right? Who can afford something like this? $20 for a single lunch. You can't do this that much before you go broke. For comparison, I recently went to San Diego and I had a very good ramen. It tastes better than a lot of different Bay Area ramen restaurants, and it costs about $12, $14. So quite a lot cheaper than in the Bay Area. Sales tax is also getting kind of crazy in the Bay Area. In the Alameda County, it's currently at 10.75%. 10, 11%. 11%, if you say 11%, it's kind of crazy, right? A $100 thing that you're gonna buy, you have to pay $10 or $11 on top of it just for sales tax. Compare this to Oregon, 0% tax rate. Compare this to other counties, like in San Diego, it was like 7.5% over there. So just for living around here, you're gonna have to pay another 3%. California-wise, of course, there's also high state income taxes. Of course, I am looking at where I could migrate to, move to either Washington, Nevada, Texas, or Florida, where there's no state income taxes. Now, you also might wanna think about what kind of things that you can do around here. In the Bay Area, it doesn't have as much culture as, let's say, New York, where you have Broadway shows and things like that. There's always things happening. But in the Bay Area, it's kind of like suburban. Things are not as tightly packed together. And given that San Francisco is not a great place to hang around because of all the break-ins, all the muggings and stuff. So it completely turns into a place where you don't have as much to do anymore. Of course, I do also note that whenever you live somewhere for a really long time, you tend to do everything, right? You've done every single thing there is. There's nothing new anymore, so maybe it is time to move somewhere so that everything is fresh again. One of the things that never really hit home until I go vacation somewhere like San Diego, like Florida, where I just lived there for a week or two, and I interact with the locals over there. I just go to a store to buy something, and I notice that anywhere else, like even let's say in Maui or Hawaii or something, right? I go buy something, people are a lot more cheerful when I interact with people like that. In turn, they're cheerful to me, I'm cheerful to them. You just get in a really good mood. But in the Bay Area, this never happens. You go to a store, they're like, blah, 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 $10.24. You pay, you're on your way. Most of the time, people are mean here. In the Bay Area, when you are in traffic, people have road rages all the time. When you're at a store, when you're waiting in line, people are just angry. I don't know how to attribute why people are so angry. Maybe people are getting lower wages here compared to the living costs. Maybe people have to commute a lot, so then they have to be in the car. They're always trying to rush everywhere, so they feel like they don't have time for chit chat. So everything is like bam, 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 really quick. Just let me do my thing. Let me buy my stuff and get home. I don't have time for chit chat. I don't have time for leisurely thing or just being nice in general. So I think just this toxic environment, it's kind of toxic. It's kind of like mean people everywhere. It rubs off on you, and then you go home, you kind of feel, these toxic chemicals in you because you don't feel so good. It's just that I've been living here for so long that it just seems like the norm. When I go to some other city where people are really friendly, I have to catch myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm being a little bit too mean here because, I'm just so used to, just doing just basic transactions, not having chit chat and stuff. But when I was in other cities, it starts to rub off on me, and I just kind of start to realize maybe the meanness is the norm in the Bay Area, and I don't think this is a good environment to live around. But I do always tell people why I'm not moving out of the Bay Area is because a lot of my immediate family lives around here, my siblings, my parents. So if I do move out, I probably need to come back once a month or something. So I need to have like some subscription to an airline, maybe the Southwest or something. I just always keep on flying back. $100, $200 every month. But even with those costs considered, it probably is still cheaper to move out of the Bay Area because cost of living is just so much lower somewhere else. Thanks for hearing me complain about the Bay Area. If you're thinking about moving here, think about all these things that I've said. You come here to make money, mainly as a tech worker probably, and you probably just want to come in, make money, leave, and then have a family somewhere else, I guess. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.